Look at the size of this thing. It's absolutely massive. Not used to seeing a VW this big. It's hench. I'll tell you what, this is the size of a Range Rover.
This is the VW Tayron, and it's a rival to the likes of the Skoda Kodiaq and Hyundai Santa Fe, which means it's designed for families, big ones, especially those with the need for a car with 3 rows and 7 seats.
Okay, there's a few things I want to talk about with this car, including how ugly it is, subjectively. But before we do that, let's talk about something more important, and that is, of course, the practicality. Because it's so massive, this is going to be very spacious. So let's take a look inside. Okay, let's start with the second row. Loads of legroom here, masses of headroom because of the square shape of the car. So in terms of fitting a lot of occupants in here, you're not really gonna struggle. I also like the fact that you can move the seats backwards and forward, and there is even a little bit of a reclining feature as well. Although the method for activating that is a bit tricky. It's a little tab down here, which is not the easiest to move if you're not very mobile. The middle seat, unfortunately, is horrendous. It's so hard, and you've also got this transmission tunnel in the middle, so whoever's sitting in the middle is not gonna have a great journey. But we do have this very clever armrest down here with a pop-out cup holder. Those go down, and you might be wondering why it does this. This is very, very cool. So if I put my phone here, it's a device holder, and you can angle it towards you to make your viewing experience a little bit better. We've also got Isofix. These seatbelt holders are tucked out of the way. That's nice and neat. We've also got space for your device down here, extra pockets up here. Down here, we've got controls for the rear heating and cooling, plus 2 USB ports. But there are downsides, including the fact that we don't get a standard fit sunroof, so it's a bit claustrophobic, and these sport seats on the R-Line version are difficult to see around, which might make you feel a bit car sick if you can't see what's going on in front of you. On the whole though, actually not bad back here. Oh, let's check out the third row. Now, normally in a 7-seater, there's no easy way to get inside, but actually, this ain't too bad. Slide it forward, pull this tab, and then hurl yourself in the back. Like that. So, yeah, you don't have to be incredibly flexible, but what you realize when you're back here is that there's actually not a lot of room if you're a grown-up. And if you're spending time back here, things might get claustrophobic. Let me out! Let me out! Oh, the button's actually quite easy to reach. Sorry about that. The other thing we want to talk about when discussing a big family car like the Tayron, before we talk about how ugly it is the boot space. And it's got quite a good one, actually. With all 3 rows in place, you still get a decent sized boot. That ain't bad. It can hold a couple of bags, maybe a medium-sized suitcase, no issue whatsoever. But if you want to go even further, you can drop the 3rd row very easily, like that, and it extends to a frankly enormous space. The only downside is that there are gaps between this 3rd row and this boot floor, and I guarantee you all types of detritus, sweets and food will end up in these gaps and fall underneath the seats, never to be seen again. However, the upside is that the boot floor is removable, and underneath the boot floor is this, the parcel shelf, which sits out of the way, which means that you're not going to take that out and forget it somewhere in your garage for 3 years and then forget where you put it. But yeah, on the whole, a pretty substantial amount of room in the 3rd row. And if you want to go even further, you pull that tab, and the 2nd row falls down. Not totally flat, but that is a pretty useful amount of storage. Now we can talk about how ugly it is.
Okay, it's not hideous. It's just got what looks to me like a really big chin. And that chin dominates the entire face. Apart from the addition of a light-up VW logo, which looks a bit cheesy if you ask me, although you can turn it off. What you can't turn off are these slightly squinty-looking headlights, which make it look a bit angry with the world. The paint might be an issue for some as well. It's only available in grey, unless you pay £505 for white or around £800 for a metallic paint colour. All of the wheel options in this R-Line specification are 20s, with this particular design coming as standard, and the half squircle wheel arches have some nice gloss black that adds a premium finish. The light design at the rear looks pretty cool, although again the illuminated VW badge might not be to everyone's tastes.
Inside, really quite nice. I like it in here. Not sure about this trim on the dashboard. That looks a bit suspect, and on the door cards as well. It might age a bit, but the rest of it is decent. Bit plasticky down here, but look at that Alcantara trim with the stitching. That's really nice. We've also got the Alcantara effect on these R-line seats. Bit big, like I said, hard to see from the back, but they look fantastic. And in terms of practicality, it's actually quite a good car, because down here, you've got two cup holders, which are removable. You get rid of that, open that up, and you get a little space here for, I think that's big enough for a loaf of bread. Not sure why you'd want to carry a loaf of bread, but you can if you want to. Now, door bins, enormous. Some of the biggest I've seen in the game, very useful, and they're felt lined as well. So if you've got loose change or other bits, they won't rattle around too much. Under here, you've got not one, but two wireless phone chargers, which can fast charge yours and your passengers' phones very quickly. And then the cool thing is you put that down and it can hide away without distracting you as you drive. You've also got two USB-C ports in there as well, which is quite handy. Now, in terms of technology, lots going on in this car. I'm gonna come back and discuss it in a moment, but for now, let's go for a little drive. So the next big question is, what's it like to drive? And the simple answer is that it's fine, isn't it? It's fine. No major red flags. The car does what it's supposed to do. There are a couple of quirks with it though. I'll start with the seats actually, because that's one thing that has annoyed me slightly. And it's the fact that the seats don't have electrical adjustment. You've got to do it manually, which to me seems like a bit of an oversight at best and a bit tight-fisted at worst, especially in a car costing in excess of £40,000. Now, that's obviously not a massive problem if you're the only person driving the car, but if you're in a family and mum and dad will have to drive, and mum is a different size to dad, then you're gonna have to adjust the seats quite often, and adjusting them is a bit of a pain, especially moving it up and down, because you really got to ratchet this little lever on the right-hand side, and it can take some moving to get to the desired position. The same goes for the seat back. What's really odd though is the fact that this car, even though it doesn't have electrically adjusted seats, which are a £2,000 option, by the way, it does have massaging seats, which to me seems really weird. What would I prefer? I'd much rather have electrically adjusting seats than a massage. The other thing to point out to you, and it's not about the car, it's about this video. You might have noticed in a few of our shots that it's not me driving in every single shot. The lady you see in some of the passing shots is a lovely lady called Shannon. She's our production coordinator, and I asked her to do some stunt driving for me because we shot this video on the same day as shooting the Ducati Panigale V2S. So I was riding the bike while Shannon was driving the car for some of the shots. Thanks, Shannon. Oh yeah, and the other thing to point out is that yes, me and Shannon did find it really annoying manually adjusting the seats every time we swapped back and forth in this car. It's relatively quiet, apart from some road noise. You've got some really big wheels and tires on this thing, so you do get that coming into the cabin. And the engine can feel like it's struggling a bit because it's a big car and the engine itself is only relatively small. So when you accelerate, yeah, you can feel it working its little socks off, this engine. But then on the flip side, when you're maneuvering very slowly, it seems to react almost too quickly, so you kind of apply a little bit of throttle and it shoots off. So you've got to be really gentle on the accelerator when you're driving slowly around town.
Total power will of course depend on which version you go for. The 1.5 litre engine in this R-Line version offers 150 horsepower, which doesn't feel like a lot in today's world. But there's also a 2 litre petrol engine available offering up to 265 horsepower, or a plug-in hybrid with 272.
In terms of the ride, you do get a choice of suspension. You can get a standard suspension or an adaptive suspension system, which is really good because you can adjust it from being really soft to quite sporty or anything in between. This particular car I'm driving right now has the standard suspension, and I gotta say, it's actually fine. I don't think I'd spend the £1,000 plus on the adaptive suspension because the standard one does a good enough job.
As for fuel economy, that'll depend on which engine you opt for. The 2 litre ETSI returns as little as 32 miles per gallon, while the plug-in hybrid manages a claimed 631.5 as long as the battery is charged up. The diesel, meanwhile, gives you just shy of 50 miles per gallon. But what's this 1.5 litre ETSI like in the real world?
I am averaging 27.1 miles per gallon, which isn't that great because they advertise this car as being capable of over 40 miles per gallon. It does make you wonder, if you're not achieving really good fuel economy from the petrol, should you think about opting for the plug-in hybrid version?
Well, in theory, maybe, but the plug-in hybrid costs an extra £4,000, and most drivers won't make that money back in lower running costs, especially on a short lease or finance deal. Where the PHEV comes into its own is with company car buyers who might be able to save money on benefit in kind tax. For you guys, that powertrain is a good option. I pretty much guarantee it.
Speaking of guarantees, I also guarantee that you're missing out if you don't have this on your phone. It's the Autotrader app. And not only will it help you sell your car, but it will also help you choose from nearly 500,000 cars in the UK, new as well as used. And if you're not into cars, it also has bikes, vans, motorhomes, e-bikes, trucks, even plant and farm machinery. I don't know what that is, but I really want to drift it. Oh, and the app also has dark mode, so you can do it at night. Download it from the App Store or Google Play Store right now. Let me talk you through some options that I probably would get on this car. First of all, the HD Matrix LED lights, definitely get those. They improve the brightness of your headlights and make a huge difference when you're driving at night. Tick that. Panoramic sunroof, that'll set you back about £1,400. I'd say it's worth it, especially in a car this big. Harman Kardon enhanced sound system, that is £900. And I say, yeah, go ahead and get it. Not only do you get a better sound system, but you also get a spare wheel and a jack, which means you can actually change a flat tire if the worst were to happen. The one thing I wouldn't get though, as I mentioned before, are the electric seats. Even though I want them, I'm not paying £2,000 for electric seats, bro. No, not me. Now earlier I did promise you a little look at the technology in the VW Tayron. Right now, all of it of course is dominated by this enormous screen, which does have compatibility with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I was going to show you that, but for some reason it seems to have unpaired itself from my phone. So I'll talk you through real time now, the process of repairing it. Let's see if it actually works or whether it embarrasses me live on the YouTubes. Push that, wait for it to show up on my phone. It's not showing up. It's not showing up. It says my VW 2952 is now visible and can be connected in your mobile phone's Bluetooth menu, but it's not, is it? It's just not there. Oh, there it is. Okay, right, okay, cool, here we go. That's on. Let's see if CarPlay shows up. Contacts have been imported. Yeah, it's not straightforward, but you can connect your phone wirelessly through CarPlay, just apparently not all the time. Anyway, as for the rest of it, it's very feature rich. There's a lot you can do. So the main home screen is divided up into tiles, which you can then kind of scroll through individually. It gets a little bit information heavy. You will need to read the manual. It does give you perhaps too much information at times, but the plus side is that it's really big and really clear. The downside, however, is that activating simple things like your climate control can be a bit of a nightmare because it's not permanently displayed on the screen. The other thing is when you got your navigation up and you want to change things like your fan speed, you've actually got to get rid of the nav and then load a completely different screen, which then means you might miss your junction when you navigate in it. It's all a bit much. But I got to give credit where it's due because VW had almost completely gotten rid of physical buttons in their cars, but they've taken a step backwards and given us physical buttons here on the steering wheel, thank you VW, and also here on the center console. That is a volume knob, but not just a volume knob.
It's also a knob for switching between the car's various drive modes, which affect how sporty it feels, and also the car's so-called atmospheres, each of which triggers different interior light colors, dash graphics, and even music playlists. For example, drum and bass for energetic, or classical for minimalist. It's a bit pointless, but the knob is nice.
So, should you buy a VW Tayron? Well, actually, yeah, it's a commendable family car. I think it's ideal for any family that needs the extra flexibility of a third row of seats and a massive boot. It is incredibly practical. It's also nowhere near as ugly as I might have implied at the beginning of this video. It's a decent looking car.